Hare Krishna. We'll start with the invocation prayers. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumritam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vande Aham Shri Guru Shri Utapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijan Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishvanu Sutta Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Panchakalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhu Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namo Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, thank you all for coming. So today I will first answer inquiries submitted by you all devotees, and I will show striking points that you all populated. And then today we will cover mantras number 2 to 8 of Sri Iso Upanishad. So question number 1. Why the Isha Upanishad verses are called as mantras? Mantra generally means magical or powerful or something in that direction. Is there any relation to this? It's very, very nice that deliberately I left 2 points unanswered. One of is this question about mantra, and you asked. The other point nobody has asked, so I'm going to raise that question today. So one of the meaning of mantra is man means mind and tra means to deliver. So mantra means that which delivers the mind. So Upanishad mantras, including Sri Iso Upanishad mantras, are meant to be recited. And anything that is meant to be recited can be referred to as mantras. So these mantras are said to have sacred power. Any sacred sound with special power is called a mantra. In Bhakti tradition, even Bhagavad Gita verses are considered mantras. In current and recent context for about many hundred years, the mantra has come to mean a brief sound vibration which are continuously repeated. So traditionally, if a literature is to be recited as the Sri Iso Upanishad, as the invocation mantra plus the 18 mantras, therefore they are called as mantras. Still, there are some other mantras that are primarily transcendental, primarily centered around names of God and chanting his names. And in the current bhakti tradition, these are all referred to as mantras because they have special power. So because all Upanishad mantras, including Sri Iso Upanishad mantras, have traditionally been recited, and hence they are traditionally referred to as mantras. And these nomenclature is continued in the Bhakti Vedanta Trust printing in Sri Iso as well. Hence, these mantras are referred to as mantras. Does that answer the inquiry?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, yes.
Very good. Question number 2. When we have imperfect senses under illusion, how do we perceive and accept evidences and limiting beliefs based on science? Science is so slow when compared to scriptures. Why can't we make the study of scriptures mandatory, at least for Hindus? So the information we get from science is partial. And specifically for spirituality, the field of science does not know much. So we don't have any fight with science. It's just that whatever science is telling us is partial information. It's not complete. Srimad Bhagavatam has much more information than what science knows. We actually read Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 10. The title of Canto 2, Chapter 10 is Srimad Bhagavatam has the answer to everything. And as we will read through Srimad Bhagavatam, you will realize that Srimad Bhagavatam has answers to everything. So yes, Srimad Bhagavatam is definitely much more than what science says. And in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Prahlad Maharaj has explained that spirituality should begin around age 5 or earlier. So at home, devotees do teach scriptures to their kids. The material world education system, we don't have control. And of course, Prabhupada has called material world education system as slaughterhouse because material world education is keeping us bound in material world. So yes, we all should teach scriptures to kids at our respective homes or whosoever we have influence on. Yeah, we should teach these scriptures. If you attend any of the devotee sangha, does not have to be your God sibling. There are programs conducted by devotees. If you attend some of those devotee programs at their homes, you will notice that young children, they know many of these Srimad Bhagavatam pastimes because the parents have taught them Srimad Bhagavatam from very young age. So yes, you all can imbibe the same for your respective circles. Material world education we cannot control. Does that answer the inquiry?
Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you.
All right. Question number 3. Why is name of God not there in first chapter of Vedas? Is my understanding correct? In a book preface, it seems to indicate that only Vaishnava translations are superior, not those from others such as Sankaracharya. So we have not studied Vedas, hence not sure what is this inquiry about. In Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, verses 16, 17, and 18, Krishna has given the essence of all Vedas is to know Krishna. So understand that Vedas is at Karma Kanda level, so they will have specifics on how to live your life as a Karma Kandya. And yes, it also focuses that, by the way, the ultimate essence should be to focus on the Supreme Lord, which Krishna has given as the essence in 15.16, 17, 18. Now about these Vaishnava commentaries, the Vaishnava commentaries provide a personalistic view of God, while Shankaracharya is a Mayavadi Therefore, we avoid his commentary. Does that help with this inquiry?
Hare Krishna. I think I miswrote this question. What I meant was like in Sri Iso Upanishad, like why is God's name not there?
Yeah, so we already discussed this point at the start of Sri Upanishad, that the Upanishads are meant for intellectuals that they like to have hair pulling analysis and to bring such intellectuals from their jnana level to a personalistic view. Yeah, Ishopanishad does not have names of God directly referenced. So the first mantra, the invocation mantra, has Om Purnamada. What is this Om Purnam referring to? He, she, it, they. Doesn't say. Why? Because the intellectuals like to argue, and the Upanishads are meant for them, and therefore they are written in that fashion. Therefore, in Sri Upanishad, Prabhupada does not refer Krishna a lot, because it's more focused on the opulence of Krishna and not on the personal, intimate relationship. Therefore, Krishna is not referenced more frequently. The mantras don't have at all. In purport, Prabhupada is referencing few times about Krishna, but not a lot. Lakshmi?
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Question number 4. Could you please explain that this world is a prison and hospital? This discussion again. So because we became envious of Krishna, that why is Krishna alone the Bhoktaram? I also want to be Bhoktaram. Therefore, we are sent to the material world for our punishment. So Durg means prison, and Durga means one who oversees the prison. So Durga Devi, that's how she gets the name, that Durga Devi is in charge of this prison house, the material world, just as jailer oversees the prison. So simultaneously, the miseries that we get means we are getting whipped by Maya Devi or Durga Devi. These are meant for our reformation, that we as souls do not belong in this material world. Hence, we need to go back home to Godhead by purifying ourselves. Therefore, material world is also a hospital. In Srimad Bhagavatam 4.7.24 describes that chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra is the medicine and prasadam is the diet for us to go back home to Godhead. Does that answer the inquiry?
Yes, thank you.
Question number 5. All Vedic knowledge for scholars and philosophers is what is called the Vedanta Sutra. The question is, what is this Vedanta Sutra meaning? And can you please explain, or can you please provide the categorization of all Shastras we have in Sanatana Dharma? So understand this Vedanta Sutta. This will get covered in our Srimad Bhagavatam, and I will repeat the conversation from Srimad Bhagavatam. So the 4 Vedas compiled by Srila Vyasadeva are known as Vedanta. And Vedanta Sutra, so the first statement that 4 Vedas are compiled by Vyasadeva is known as, it is described in 1.1.1 Srimad Bhagavatam. Then 1.2.3 Srimad Bhagavatam describes that Vedanta Sutra was compiled by Srila Vyasadeva to give the cream of all Vedic knowledge, because Vedic literatures are so many in number and it's very difficult to study all of them. Therefore, Srila Vyasadeva gave us Vedanta Sutra, which is cream of all Vedic knowledge. And then 1.5.4, Srimad Bhagavatam describes that Vedanta Sutra compiled by Srila Vyasadeva is deliberation of the impersonal feature of the absolute truth. And then Srila Vyasadeva compiled Vedic literature ending with Vedanta, but these do not directly glorify Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Vedanta Sutra is directed towards Gyanis. And then in 1.2.3 Srimad Bhagavatam describes as Srimad Bhagavatam is one unrivaled natural commentary on this cream. So Srimad Bhagavatam is a commentary on Vedanta Sutra, and Srimad Bhagavatam is a personal commentation on the Vedanta Sutra by Srila Vyasadeva. So understand this, this very, very complex and high philosophical point that yes, all this Vedanta Sutra was impersonalistic view, and with Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Vyasadeva is giving us a personalistic view and giving us a cream of Vedanta Sutra and cream of all Vedic literature. Does that help with this inquiry? All right. Question number 6, last question for today. Just want to take the example from Satchidananda. Like we say, impersonal Brahman realization is the realization of his Sat feature. Does this mean the person currently following this system knows only his eternal feature and does not get the knowledge and bliss features? Or is this only meant to be the platform after quitting this body? So correct point in the question itself, that those who are Brahmavadi, so we have discussed Brahmavadi at great length in chapter 7, and we revised today also at the batch 3 and 4. So those who are Brahmavadi means those who follow Brahman and try to attain Brahman effulgence. They only have this much information that there is some superior being existing or some superior power existing. Hence, they only know the existence of something superior, but they do not know more about this superior being. And because Brahmavadi do not have devotee association, hence they do not know the Supreme Being is a person, is Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. Therefore, they just focus on the Brahman effulgence and they try to merge or realize the Brahman effulgence. Does that answer the inquiry? All right. Now striking points. So you have 5 pages. This is slide number 1. Take a snapshot. Slide number 2. Slide number 3. Slide number 4. And slide number 5. And then you also have 4 slides for Srila Prabhupada's lecture key points. So this is slide number 1. Then slide number 2. Slide number 3. And slide number 4. There is one question posted in the chat that when should we recite Sri Isopanishad mantras? So there's no time, you can recite whenever you like to recite. All the time, or specifically say when you are memorizing or you are practicing to remember Krishna while doing your day-to-day activities, you can recite at least the first 2 mantras, which is invocation and mantra number 1. But there's no limitation that you have to recite only at a particular time. You are free to recite whenever you want. Does that answer the inquiry?
Yes, Prabhuji.
So one question that I deliberately left unanswered, I was hoping somebody will ask, but nobody has asked this question. So I will ask you all this question. I'm assuming you all knew the answer, therefore you did not ask. So we talked about in mantra number 1, the Ishavasya principle that everybody should live according to their quota. And everybody should earn according to their quota. So do you know the quota? Everybody, how do you know your quota? Somebody? Somebody wants to know?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji.
I think only God knows. Whatever we get, that is our quota. Thank you.
Yeah, but the verse said, and we discussed that we have to live according to our quota. So how will we live according to our quota if we don't know our quota?
So when we live, our focus should be on Krishna, and whatever comes while we are doing that,
Okay.
we are not yearning for more and focusing on like making material things.
Yeah,
So I
very good.
suppose
Very good. Rest of you, how do you know your quota? How will you live according to your quota if you don't know your quota? Only couple devotees said they want to know the answer.
Prabhuji,
I
until
think
which we
correct.
Priyadarshini, go ahead.
the quota, it will be until which we can balance both our material duties and spiritual duty.
All right, very good. Matan Prabhu?
I think the quota is to just to keep the soul and body together. That's what we have a quota.
Okay, very good. Annapurni?
Similar to what Madan Prabhu said, just take it day by day. Just not focus on the results and accumulating too much. Focus on Krishna and be dependent on Krishna, and He provides what you need. Just accept Him as the master, and He takes care. Our job is just to focus on going closer to Him.
All right, very good. Let me answer. That is very important. That yes, the verse says, and some of you already answered it correctly. So the mantra says that we have to live according to kota tena taktena bhunjita. So how do we know our quota, and how do we know how much is material and how much is spiritual? So let me answer this. So one important point to understand is that we have to practice bhakti in a sustainable manner. Means we have to have regulation. You cannot have, say, one day you are sleeping only 2 hours because you are saying, I have so much service, and next day you are sleeping for 24 hours. This is not sustainable. This doesn't work. We have to sleep 6-7 hours every day, and that is sustainable. Krishna says this in Bhagavad Gita chapter 6 around verse 16-17 that we have to regulate our sleeping and eating. We have to have a regulated life. So for practicing bhakti, we don't have to rigidly separate material and spiritual, because material is also usable for Krishna's service. So when we are thinking about our quota, the focus of the point is how can I peacefully practice bhakti in a sustainable way, which is exactly what Krishna has explained in Bhagavad Gita chapter 6, where Krishna talks about regulation, that one who does not eat too much, one who does not eat too little, one who does not sleep too much, one who does not sleep too little. Means both extremes we don't have to do. We don't have to sleep too much and we don't have to sleep too little. We have to have regulation. Sleep regularly every day. So excess can be doing too much, as well as excess can also be in terms of being too little. So both extremes we have to avoid. And that's exactly what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita chapter 6, verse 16 and 17, where Krishna is talking about regulation, that although chapter 6 is on Ashtanga Yoga, and even for Ashtanga Yogi who have renounced the world, Krishna says regulation of material life is important, and then yoga practice will lead to perfection. So yes, many of you answered it correctly, that we have to find a balance and we don't have to over endeavor. We have to endeavor. We just don't have to over endeavor. Now, another point is that to determine this quota, one formula does not apply to everyone. Rather, the point is anukulye se sankalpa, pratikulye se varjitam, that we have to accept what is favorable for bhakti and we have to avoid what is unfavorable for bhakti. So, for example, Kshatriya, well, he has to live like a king. He is a leader. So, what is anukul for him will differ for me as a Shudra. Kshatriya will need $1 million. Well, I have to live as a Shudra. I have to live a simple life. So one formula does not fit everyone. It has to be for your individual circumstance. The third point is, does not mean we do not do anything. Saying that, oh, what is my quota? I will get it. No, it doesn't work that way. Krishna has already described in Bhagavad Gita 2.47 this point, that do not be attached to not doing your duty. So scripture says Bhakti Yoga will lead to perfection, but Bhakti Yoga has to be perceived, has to be endeavored. And Krishna says this specifically in Srimad Bhagavatam, the Uddhav Gita section, which is Canto 11, chapter 20, verse number 8. It says Bhakti Yoga Asya Siddhida, that you have to endeavor on Bhakti Yoga path to get the results of Bhakti Yoga. Now, if endeavor takes up so much time of your material world time that you have no time for spirituality, that is over endeavor. That is not your quota. Means you are trying to transgress your quota. Therefore, you have to scale back and you have to find a balance, which is described in 3.14, Yajna Karma Samudbhava. So some of you were on the right track, that we don't have to over endeavor. We simply have to keep the body and soul together. We simply have to rely on Krishna, that whatever comes by its own accord. We don't have to sit idle. We have to endeavor. We just don't have to over endeavor. Does that help with this point of how do you determine your quota?
Yes,
Yes,
thank you.
Prabhuji, what a brilliant question
Prabhuji.
and a brilliant answer to support it. Really amazed. Thank you.
All glories are always for Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada. There's no need to glorify me. All right. So we will now continue with mantras number 2 to 8. Now I'll cover a lot of these mantras and still we will most likely end our class early. So I won't cover beyond mantra number 8 because you will have a lot of reading to do from our class today. So go back to your overview chart that I had given you. So the A part is vision, that from invocation to mantra number 8 is the vision that invocation is the foundation of the knowledge of the Supreme Person. Then mantra number 1 to 3 is practices for living entity. Mantra number 1 is Ishavasya principle we discussed up till mantra number 1 at our last class. I mentioned that each of these mantras have a little theme or a title, and I will give you today for all these mantras from 2 to 8, and you can make a note of it. So mantra number 2, the title is Living in Harmony is Beneficial. Kunal Prabhu, mantra number 2 translation. Kunal Prabhu.
Oh, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Sorry, I was just pulling up
Yeah.
the details.
Yeah.
One may aspire to live for hundreds of years if he continuously goes on working in that way, for that sort of work will not bind him to the law of karma. There is no alternative to this way for man.
Mm.
Hare Krishna.
So the theme is living in harmony is beneficial. So the theme of the purport is that acknowledge Ishvara and live according to Ishavasya principle. The purport is divided into 6 parts. Paragraph 1 talks about how karma bandhana causes death. That no one wants to die, but why is there death? Paragraph number 2 talks about human life offers liberation through akarma. Akarma means pure devotional service. Paragraph number 3 talks about Vedas lead to akarma. Paragraph number 4 talks about begin by bringing God into sense gratificatory life. I'll soon discuss points from all of these. Paragraph number 5 says without God, everything is in vain. And paragraph number 6 says make all altruisms into karma yoga. So the mantra says, there is no other way to live. What does this mean? It means there is no other intelligent way to live. Other ways to live lead to ignorance and causes sinful reaction. Therefore, live harmoniously with the Ishavasya principle that everything belongs to God and everything should be used in service of God. And any other way is a way of disaster. So if you live according to Ishavasya principle, then there is no karmic reaction. Then there will be no bondage. And therefore, this term karmana bandhana is described in the purport. Karma bandhana means bondage to material existence. Now, soul does not die, but soul experiences the misery of death due to attachment to body. To the extent I want to enjoy material things, I become bound by that karma. Desire to enjoy matter is the cause of karma and karma bandhana. Therefore, do a karma to avoid bondage. We have discussed a karma point in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, verses 16, 17, and 18. Akarma means pure devotional service. Now, I don't know about you, but many devotees will say, I will say that I cannot start practicing akarma immediately. Therefore, what we have to do is, we have to go step-by-step process. That first begin by bringing God into sense gratification life. Means, if you want sense gratification, don't do it in an irreligious way, but do it in a God-conscious way. This is first stage of spiritual life. Meaning, sense gratification plus God equals karma kanda lifestyle. And then you progress little by little, that now you have brought scriptures and God in your life. Then you add detachment and you grow to karma yoga. Then you add love and devotion and you grow to bhakti yoga. We have discussed this today morning also at the batch 3 and 4 yoga ladder overview class. So if one does not practice this first stage of life of sense gratification plus God, meaning the karma kanda life, if you don't practice this, then everything one does will be very vague. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada says, bring God in all your activities. Thus, you spiritualize all your activities, and this will give lasting benefit. So there is no harm in becoming a family man, provided one executes his activities in relation with Isha Vasya principle, the God-centered conception. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains the point of the greatest danger that we face. The greatest danger of life is the danger of gliding down again into the evolutionary cycle of birth and death among the 8.4 million life forms after we have attained this very rare human form of life. Therefore, Prabhupada explains the law of the last thought, which is described in Bhagavad Gita 8.5 and 8.6, that if you remember Krishna, then you will attain Krishna, and whatever else you will remember, that's what you will attain. And this law of the last thought, Prabhupada calls it as a very great danger. Therefore, we have to be very cautious and try to do devotional service, chant japa, read scriptures throughout our life, so that we have a chance to remember Krishna at the time of death, or at least Krishna will remember us at the time of death. The last point in mantra number 2, Prabhupada explains that Krishna consciousness guarantees human birth in next life. When you say guarantee, I mean there is a significant high probability that you will get human birth in your next life, even if your Krishna consciousness is not complete in this life. Even though such God-centered activities may be half finished in our current life, they are still good for the executor, because you are guaranteed, or there is a very high likelihood of you getting a human form of life in your next life, as well as a human birth among devotees, so that you can continue your spirituality from where you left off. And without God, everything is in vain. That is mantra number 2. Questions, comments, realizations? Lakshmi?
Hare Krishna. So does God, I know you might have covered this before, does God judge based on my knowledge and understanding of Krishna and what he's expecting and a balanced life? Um, like if I was to go from like a karma to vikarma, as compared to somebody who does not know Krishna at all, who has no knowledge at all, would he differentiately, like, would he judge me more severely because I know, but I'm periodically going into vikarma as opposed to somebody else who does not know?
Yeah, you are correct. That if you know and you deliberately do something wrong, you have a greater punishment. Just as even in the material world, if somebody accidentally does something wrong, well, he will say, I did not know. Or it's not a defense, but he will say, I did not intend, I did not know, I accidentally did something wrong. He is still going to get punished, maybe a little lenient punishment. Well, versus somebody who knows everything and he deliberately does something wrong, well, you are deliberately doing something wrong. So your punishment will obviously be severe. So therefore, we have discussed this in offenses to avoid class, that it was better that I did not know about the offenses. Now I am scared of the offenses. So we don't have to be scared of the offenses. We have discussed that the easiest and the simplest way to avoid doing offenses is to be respectful of Krishna and Krishna's devotees. So even in the material world, ignorance of law is not an excuse. Yes, you may get a little lenient punishment, that I understand. And that too could be a challenge to prove that somebody will say, well, this is law. How can you not know law? So Bhagavad Gita or the laws given in various scriptures are laws of God, are laws of material nature. So we have to abide by them. And if we deliberately don't abide by them, well, then we are at a bigger fault. Lakshmi?
Yes, thank you, Hare Krishna.
All right. Mantra number 3, the theme or the title is living in disharmony is harmful. Raksha, mantra number 3, translation.
Yes, Prabhuji. Translation: the killer of the soul, whoever he may be, must enter into the planets known as the world of the faithless, full of darkness and ignorance. Hare Krishna.
So the word Atmaha is described, means killer of soul. Is the Atmaha or killer of soul is one who neglects prime necessity of life, means neglects self-realization, but lives for temporary sense gratification and temporary pleasures. Thus he degrades the soul and is called Atmaha or killer of the soul. Now soul cannot be killed, so why does it say killer of the soul? Because the soul gets pushed down to lower species and lower planets, to the darkest regions of ignorance, to suffer perpetually. Therefore, is termed as killer of the soul, because soul is perpetually bound in the material world, the darkest regions of ignorance. And in the purport, the analogy of a boat in ocean is compared to human life. That spiritual master is the captain. The human body is the perfectly constructed boat. Vedic scriptures and acharyas are the perfect boatmen and the facilities of the human body are compared to favorable breeze that helps the boat ride smoothly to the desired destination of spiritual world. With all these facilities, if a human being does not fully utilize his life for self-realization, he must be then considered a Atmaha, means the killer of the soul. Everybody got the points for the analogy of the boat in the ocean compared to human life?
Prabhuji, can you please go over it a little bit slow? I'm writing it down. It takes time.
All right. So this analogy of the boat in the ocean compared to human life is spiritual master is the captain. Human body is compared to perfectly constructed boat. Vedic scriptures and acharyas are the perfect boatmen. Facilities of human body is compared to favorable breeze that helps the boat ride smoothly to desired spiritual destination. And with all these facilities, if a human being does not fully utilize his life for self-realization, he must then be considered Atmaha, killer of the soul. Everybody got it?
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you.
Hare Krishna. So where our soul is compared in this analogy to as a boat.
So it's referring to the human form of life, right? The human body is his body on itself cannot do anything. When we refer to human body, it's the combination of the soul covered with the physical and subtle body. So it's a complete body and soul together.
Okay, thank you.
So what goes to spiritual destination is the spirit soul. Material body does not go to the spiritual destination. And the last point described in mantra number 3 purport is the word Atma Sambhivita, that materialistic or asuric people, they sometimes make a show of religion. Their aim is material prosperity. They are just making a show of religiosity, and they are great only in deception. So we don't have to deceive or make a show that I am doing spirituality. Look, I am somebody. No, we just have to stay humble and just focus on doing our services assigned. That is mantra number 3, questions, comments, realizations. So now mantra number 4 and 5. Go back to your overview chart. So there's actually, before we go there, there's a question posted in the chat. Question is that the soul has no control over what karma the person is doing. Then why should the soul have to pay the price for the person or body's karma? Or does the soul plays the role in person's karma? So we have discussed this in Bhagavad Gita chapter 5 around verse number 13, as well as this will get discussed in chapter 18 verses 13, 14, 15, that for any activity in the material world, 5 things have to come together. Soul desires, Ishvara sanctions, Prakriti executes, the senses as well as the endeavor itself. So the soul is desiring. The body is not doing anything on itself. Yeah, the body is executing what the soul is desiring. Therefore, the soul has to suffer. And why is the soul desiring something wrong? Is because of avidya. The whole material existence, Kunti Maharani summarizes in three words in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 8. Avidya Kama Karma Bhi. That avidya, ignorance, is the starting point for us as souls desiring to enjoy separate of Krishna and wanting to be in the material world. Thinking I am independent of Krishna. So soul is desiring. Therefore, soul is suffering the consequences. And therefore, Bhagavad Gita is the manual for how we should live in the world. Krishna says, and which he has described here in Ishopanishad also, in mantra number 2 and 3, that live in harmony with Ishavasha principle is beneficial. And mantra number 3 says, living in disharmony with Ishavasha principle is harmful. Does that answer the inquiry?
Yes, Prabhuji.
All right. Mantra number 4 and 5. So go back to your overview chart. Mantra number 4 and 5 is knowledge of the Supreme Person. So we discussed in the vision section that if I want to live in harmony with Ishvara, well, then I should know Ishvara. Therefore, mantras number 4 to 8 describe how to know Ishvara. So Ishvara can be understood only by spiritual vision. And first, mantra number 4 and 5 describe this knowledge of the Supreme Person, that Ishvara is inconceivable to our normal intelligence. Ishvara's attributes that are described will seem contradictory. So mantra number 4 and 5 talks about the knowledge of the Supreme Person. And then mantra number 4, the title is, the Lord is known only when he reveals. Mantra number 4 purport is very short purport. Priyanka Bulchandani, can you read mantra number 4 translation?
Yes, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. Although fixed in his abode, the personality of Godhead is swifter than the mind and can overcome all others running. The powerful demigods cannot approach him. Although in one place, he controls those who supply the air and rain. He surpasses all in excellence. Hare Krishna.
So no one can understand Krishna by material qualifications. Even demigods cannot understand. Because unless Krishna reveals, it is not possible. So Sri Isopanishad also warns that by mental speculation also, it is not possible to know Krishna. Because we have imperfect senses. Mantra number 4 purport talks about 3 principal energies of the Lord. First is internal potency, which is Antarang Shakti. Second is marginal potency, which is Tathastha Shakti, means we all jiva, we all souls, we are marginal potency, we are Tathastha Shakti. And the third energy is external potency or Bairangi Shakti, which is Prakriti or material nature. So Krishna is situated in one place and he diffuses his energies everywhere. In the purport, Prabhupada explains that devotional service is individual, spontaneous, and voluntary. Can I have the acronym ISV? My Guru Maharaj has this. Devotional service is individual, spontaneous, and voluntary. Everyone is unique in the material world, as well as everyone is unique in the spiritual world also. Means this individuality or uniqueness is engraved in us. Meaning every soul, there are infinite souls. Still, every soul has a unique set of characteristics, and every soul has a unique relationship with Krishna in terms of how they serve Krishna. That is essentially mantra number 4. Questions, comments, realizations? All right. Mantra number 5, title or the theme is Contradictions Prove His Inconceivable Potencies. Priya Darshini, mantra number 5 translation.
Hare Krishna. The Supreme Lord walks and does not walk. He is far away, but he is very near as well. He is within everything, and yet he is outside of everything. Hare Krishna.
So there are contradictions described of the Supreme Lord, that he walks but does not walk. Now, all these contradictions prove his inconceivable potencies. The inconceivable does not mean we cannot understand him at all. So by logic, we cannot understand absolute truth. Does not mean absolute truth is illogical. Rather, this inconceivable point explains is absolute truth is beyond anything material. We can understand him to a certain extent, but he is still beyond our understanding. He is inconceivable. Then he says, far away but near. So Paramatma is very near. Even if someone embraces you, he cannot come as close as Paramatma is. While at the same time, Supreme Personality of Godhead is far away in the spiritual world, performing pastimes. Meaning, for a surrendered soul, he is always very close by, within reach. Whereas for unsurrendered soul, he is very far away. And then it says, within everything, yet outside of everything. So this refers to different manifestations of the Lord, that refers to Paramatma within, and it refers to the universal form as outside of everything. So Paramatma, that refers to within everything, and universal form as outside of everything. So for devotees from batch number 6 and 7, the visual and the description for universal form is coming up very, very soon, where you will understand this more. Now this Gopinath worship is described in mantra number 5 purport. That Gopinath worship or deity worship is not idol worship. I cannot see Gopinath with my current imperfect senses So devotees who want to see Gopinath with material vision are favored by Gopinath that he appears in the Archa Vigra form, the so-called material form, just so that the devotee can do service, and he has appeared in the Archa Vigra form to accept the service from the devotees. Those are the key points for mantra number 5. Questions, comments, realizations? All right. I have lots of silence. All right. So now we'll discuss mantra number 6. So we are on 4 to 8 mantras. That mantras 4 to 8 talk about how to know Ishvara. I will soon describe how to know the spiritual. So 4 to 8 talk about how to know Ishvara. Then there is a sub part that mantra number 4 to 5 say Ishvara is inconceivable to our normal intelligence. Then mantras number 6 to 8 title is how to understand the contradictions. So you have also populated on your chart for 6 to 8 that knowledge and practice of spiritual vision. It is basically on how to understand spirituality, how to understand these contradictions. So in mantra number 6 and 7 is your first step. That first develop spiritual vision towards material things. So I'll give you the 3 steps on how to know spirituality. Mantra number 6 and 7 is your first step, that you first develop spiritual vision towards material things by seeing events and material people with equanimity. When we can see the spiritual in the material, then we will be able to go to the next step of seeing spiritual, meaning we'll be able to see the soul. That's your step number 2. And then we'll go to the step number 3, that we'll see spiritual as spiritual, which is spiritual beyond the material. So mantra number 6 is titled The Vision of Mahabhagwat. Lakshmi, mantra number 6 translation.
Hare Krishna. A person who sees everything in relation to the Supreme Lord and sees all entities as his parts and parcels, and who sees the Supreme Lord within everything, never hates anything nor any being. Hare Krishna.
All right, mantra number 6, I will read again. He who systematically sees everything in relation to the Supreme Lord, who sees all living entities as his parts and parcels, and who sees Supreme Lord within everything, never hates anything or any being. So realizations takes place in 3 stages, which are the 3 stages of devotees. That one is Kanishta Adhikari level, then Madhyam Adhikari level, and Uttam Adhikari level. So this point is explained here. We already discussed this in our earlier scriptures, and is again explained here because this is important to understand. So Kanishta Adhikari is one who does worship of Gopinath at the temple. He chants Hare Krishna, and he thinks, I have direct relationship with Krishna. And after going back from the temple, whatever I do does not matter. How I deal with others does not matter. Means one who sees material things alone He is a Kanishta Adhikari. So Kanishta Adhikari is generally a neophyte. His faith is weak and his scriptural knowledge is also weak. But since he is chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we still respect him in our mind. And then Madhyamadhikari has 4 characteristics: that he knows Krishna as the object of my worship, as the object of my love. He showers mercy on the innocent. He makes friends with devotees and he avoids atheists. So Madhyamadhikari understands I have a relationship with Krishna, and that relationship will be developed by how we relate with others also. Means the Madhyamadhikari has appreciation for devotees. Kanishta Adhikari does not appreciate devotees. So although Madhyamadhikari's faith is strong, Madhyamadhikari may still not be very knowledgeable to refute misconceptions of others based on the authority of scriptures, so as to present scriptures effectively and to infuse Krishna consciousness in others. Yeah, somebody may argue with a Madhyamadhikari. Madhyamadhikari may not be able to convince him, but still, for himself, the Madhyamadhikari is convinced. He has strong conviction for himself. But his scriptural knowledge is not strong enough to be able to convince others. That is for Uttamadhikari level. So Uttamadhikari, Tama means darkness and Ut means beyond. So Uttama means beyond darkness. The characteristics of Uttamadhikari are they are pure and free from anarthas. Second, they are seriously engaged in Lord's service. Third, they spread Krishna consciousness. Fourth, Uttamadhikaris are generally gurus, spiritual masters. Fifth, Uttamadhikari serves his guru. Sixth, Uttamadhikari is offenseless. Seventh, Uttamadhikari does not criticize and does not have any inclination to criticize. Eighth, both faith and knowledge for Uttamadhikari are very deep. So the knowledge is not referring to intellectual knowledge. Rather, the knowledge is referring to applicational knowledge by which Uttamadhikari can transform ordinary people's hearts. So spiritual masters are at Uttamadhikari level, or spiritual master would at least be a very advanced Madhyamadhikari level. I'll give you a practical example. This is many years ago, more than 10 years ago, where I used to come to the temple once a month for cleaning service. I was not in spirituality. It so happened that the day, one of the day that when I had come, now my spiritual master, his Grace Vaisheshikadas Adhikari, was also at the Toronto temple, and devotees asked me if I could drive them to the book distribution location because they were short of cars and they knew that I have a car. So I used to come from very far away. So I used to live in St. Catharines and come to Toronto temple. So it's 120 kilometers one-way drive. That's a pretty far distance. I used to come just once a month. So devotees said, you just drop us there and then we'll figure out. So I said, well, if I drop you, how are you going to come back? Maybe I can stay with you and I will drive you back also. He said, okay, very good. So devotees tagged me with my Guru Maharaj and Guru Ma for book distribution for the entire building. Now, what we do in book distribution, that we go to the top floor and we take the elevator, we take all the books, and then we take the stairs one by one floor, we come down. So as the three of us, meaning my spiritual master, my Guru Ma, and I were coming down from the stairs in the apartment building, there was a person smoking in the stairwell. He was smoking, and that too was a strange smell, so probably was smoking some ganja or something strange. So my spiritual master stopped, and this was a black guy. My spiritual master stopped and spoke to him and say, what do you do for a living? You'll be surprised. This person honestly responded that he sells drugs. So my spiritual master still started talking to him about spirituality. And because of my spiritual master being an Uttamadhikari, he was able to convince even this smoker who sells drug to take a book, and he also gave Lakshmi. He put his hand in the pocket and he said, I only have so much Lakshmi. It was only like a $1 or $2, I think. I don't remember. But was $1 or $2. And he even gave Lakshmi. Now, can you imagine the power of my spiritual master, who is an Uttamadhikari, that a completely ignorant person, he's smoking ganja or whatever, he's selling drugs for his living, he takes a book. This is the level of transformational knowledge that Uttamadhikari have. Questions, comments, realizations? Lakshmi?
Hare Krishna. That was great to hear the story. The word used here in this scripture, in the translation, it says, then afterwards you will not hate anyone. This word hate, like, how do we understand this? Like, hate can be an emotion, it can translate into action, or I may just have some hate but not really.
You can replace the word with envy.
Envy.
Right? You generally, somebody has envy against other. And Srimad Bhagavatam describes, and if anybody is interested, my spiritual master gave a short lecture just a few days ago on how to be non-envious. I will explain briefly. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 8, verse number 34 describes that how to be non-envious. Or you can use the same way about the word hate used, that how not to hate anybody or how not to be envious of anybody. So Srimad Bhagavatam describes 4.8.34, and Srila Prabhupada says that every devotee should live like this. So just as 8.7 Bhagavad Gita as well as Srimad Bhagavatam 10.14.8 are verses on how to live, similarly Srila Prabhupada has said that 4.8.34 is how a devotee should live in the material world. Then there will be no material turbulations. So 4.8.34 says that upon meeting a more qualified person, one should rejoice and not be envious. Upon meeting a less qualified person, one should feel compassion and not look down upon the less qualified. And upon meeting an equally qualified person, one should make friends and not be competitive. This way, one will never be affected by the threefold miseries of material world. And my spiritual master just in the last few days has given a lecture on the same topic, although the verse wasn't referring to this verse, but he's talking about how to be non-envious. He's talking about this exact same points that I just referred from 4.8.34. So if anybody is interested to listen to that short lecture, you are welcome to get it from me. Lakshmi, does that help you?
Yes, thank you. But not to be envious of anything, that is, it's very difficult.
Yeah, very difficult. Yeah, so we have to develop qualities. In chapter 5, what Abhishek Prabhu had referred to in the morning class, in chapter 5, from verse number 20 onwards, it gives the qualities or the characteristics of a siddha. One of them is non-envious, right? So these are the qualities of a character and characteristics of a siddha. Siddha means a purified person. And these are goals for us that at least in theory, we understand first and then we practice. Now, a practical way for being non-envious, I already quoted the scripture points, that understand that you are a soul and nothing in the material world can make you as the soul happy. So why are you becoming envious of somebody? Secondly, somebody else has more opulence than you. Well, that is their karma. You have no control on it. You are getting according to your karma. Just as in a hospital, patient on bed number 1 does not take the medicine of the patient on bed number 2. No, patient on bed number 1 has his own disease and has his own medication. Patient number 2 has his own disease and has his own medication. Similarly, our karma, our life is our disease, and we get the required opulences and abilities according to our karma. So why do you have to become envy of somebody? It is their karma that you have no control on. And in the lecture that I am referring to of my spiritual master, he starts this lecture that Krishna gives everybody the opulences that they deserve. Right? So you have your opulences according to what you need and what you want. Other person has his opulences according to what he needs and he wants. Why would you want to be envy of somebody? And to begin with, even if you get that opulence, nothing in the material world is going to satisfy the soul. Lakshmi, does that help you?
Yes, thank you, Hare Krishna.
The last point explained in mantra number 6 purport is the word anupasyati. Anu means to follow and pasyati means to observe. So anupasyati means one should not see things as he sees with his naked eyes. Rather, one should follow previous acharyas because I have imperfect senses. That's a quick summary of mantra number 6. Questions, comments, realizations?
That verse is in mantra number 7. Anupasyate.
Say that again.
You just described mantra 7, yes?
No, mantra 6.
Anupasyate.
Yeah, anupasyati should be there in mantra number 6.
I don't see.
It is there in the middle, probably.
If you look at the second line of mantra number 6, it says eva anupasyati.
Okay, okay.
Abhishek Prabhu, you have a question?
Just I was thinking, probably, that this idea of Upanishads being very coded and kind of is coming along because everything is going very fast.
Yeah, you are correct. And you can judge that I am going very slow pace And I have described at the start that Upanishads, not just Sri Upanishad, but all Upanishads are very puzzling, like, because they are meant for intellectuals who like to pull hair on tiny details. But all Upanishads, with their puzzling nature, try to bring intellectuals closer to Krishna. Yeah, so it's a very good, correct realization that that yes, this Upanishad is very puzzling and not easy to follow. Although I am trying to make it easier for all of you to follow. And I had given my own example that when we all studied this Sri Upanishad for the first time in our Bhakti Shastri course, partway through, all of us asked the teacher, "What is this going on? No, you have to explain Sri Upanishad from the start again." And the teacher explained from the start, and we still didn't understand. And we said, "No, we need a break here." And the teacher gave us 2 weeks break and said, "You all study together." So third time we studied together to understand and make sense of it all. And then fourth time I still offline by myself heard a lot of lectures to make some sense of Sri Upanishad. So you are not alone. I have myself gone through the same journey, that this is very puzzling. I have tried to simplify as much as is possible, but I cannot change the nature of Upanishad from being puzzling. Abhishek Prabhu, everybody on the same page?
Yes, Rudy, thank you for sharing this.
All right. Meghna, verse number 7 translation. So number 7, the title is Consciousness of Mahabhagavat. So we discussed Mahabhagavat in verse number 6. That to first, for you to come to spiritual vision, you have to first have the vision of Mahabhagavat, means being equipoised and not envious, being equal to all. And then mantra number 7 describes the consciousness of Mahabhagavat. Meghna?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, sorry, I don't have Upanishad
Alright.
book.
Sumnima, 7.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. One who sees all living entities as spiritual sparks in quality one with the Lord becomes a true knower of things. What then can be illusion or anxiety for him?
Meghna, you can also follow Sri Upanishad on Vedabase. So,
Yeah,
mantra
sure. Thank you so much, Prabhu. I'm just opening the Vedabase
Right.
to open the chapter.
So mantra number 7 is the consciousness of Mahabhagavat, that the key term is Ekatvam Anupashyata. So Matan Prabhu, the Anupashyata is also here. It was there in 6 also. So Ekatvam Anupashyata means one who sees oneness in quality through authority. So soul, individual soul and God are one in quality, but not in quantity. The example of qualitative sameness is that salt in a drop of water is same as in the whole ocean. So this is the oneness vision of Mahabhagavat, who sees everything as the energy of the Lord rather than seeing everybody as at the bodily level. So then you can come to be able to see the Lord or come to the spiritual vision. So it's a step-by-step process. That first I said that first you see spirit within matter. So my default thing is I see matter only. I see everybody as body. So therefore you come out, your first step is you see spirit within matter. Then you see your spirit soul. That's your step number 2, that you see spirit within spirit. Then you will be able to see God, or you'll come to the spiritual realization. That essentially is mantra number 7. There isn't a lot of point discussed in mantra number 7. Questions, comments, realizations, although I didn't really discuss much. Kunal,
So probably in this day and age for a devotee, even if he is like Madhyam Adhikari or Uttam Adhikari maybe we can keep aside. Is it possible to have no anxiety because these days devotees also have loans, they are living in the material world, they have inflation.
Yep.
So is it possible to have no
Yeah.
anxiety?
So we are talking about Mishra Bhakta, right? That they are doing material world duties, and simultaneously they are also doing spiritual duties. Degree may vary. So somebody may do devotional as a part-time, while somebody may have more of devotional and they have dovetailed even their material duties. So degree will vary. And because they are Mishra Bhakta, well, they will have anxieties. I'm not denying that. And therefore, Kunti Maharani has said, now Kunti Maharani's prayer in 1.8.25 is at pure devotional level, that let those calamities happen again and again so that we can remember Krishna, you again and again. And by remembering you, Krishna, we do not come back to this miserable material world. So in this, in our discussion, in our upcoming discussion in Srimad Bhagavatam, in Canto 1, Chapter 8, this is the discussion I'll have, which I'll repeat right now, that my default setting is, when misery happens, why is this happening to me? So the learning from Kunti Maharani's prayer is that, okay, I'm still not at pure devotional level, but at least I change my thought process that when next time misery happens, how do I use the misery to remember Krishna? I don't have to go and ask for misery, but material world is a place of misery by default. Therefore, misery is bound to happen. So we have to use that circumstance to remember Krishna and to remember Kunti Maharani's prayers, or even remember Kunti Maharani, that what level Kunti Maharani is, that she is able to ask for more miseries. So this is the learning that we'll discuss in Canto 1, Chapter 8, that we have to change our default thought process, that why is this happening to me? And we change it to saying, how can I use the misery to remember Krishna? I cannot avoid miseries. For a Uttamadhikari, you are correct that they are not affected by miseries at all. It's not that Uttamadhikari will not have miseries. No, they will still have miseries. And this is what Srila Prabhupada has taught us from his personal example. If you read Srila Prabhupada's Lilamrita, the initial chapters of the struggle that Prabhupada went through to set up ISKCON, when I first read Prabhupada's Lilamrita, I stood in front of Prabhupada at the temple and I actually said this to Prabhupada. From all the miseries, I said, Prabhupada, what were you thinking? How could you tolerate so much miseries? So not only Prabhupada went through significant volume of miseries, each misery was severe. So if any one of those misery happens to ordinary people, they will run away from Krishna. While Prabhupada kept going on and on and on and on and on to set up ISKCON, even though so many miseries kept happening. So yes, for a Uttamadhikari, the miseries will still happen, they will just not affect them. Just as, say, when somebody is having to go through an operation and they are given anesthesia, that they don't feel the misery. So I'm just trying to explain through this analogy. So Uttamadhikaris are not having this anesthesia. It's just that their mind, body, soul, and heart is so overconsumed with Krishna consciousness that this material misery, no matter how big it is, it doesn't matter. It doesn't affect them at all. So the degree will vary in terms of effect. For what Kunal Prabhu is saying, yes, for devotees, yes, we are affected by misery. And because we are all Mishra Bhakta, we have mixed devotion. So degree will vary of how much we are affected, will determine how much we are focused on bhakti. Kunal Prabhu, does that help you? I wasn't really trying
Yes.
to.
Yes, Prabhuji. It was quite helpful. Yeah, thank you. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you. Annapurni?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. This mantra. We see others as spiritual sparks, like we see the soul and the super soul like two birds, like it's explained in the Bhagavad Gita. But due to the material energies effects, people change. They are not pure as God. Like they kind of change with false ego, with manipulation. So it's very hard to perceive them purely as energy of God. Like there is energy of God, but it has been a lot of what we say. It has changed.
Yeah. So this is not equal vision. So equal vision, if you have equal vision, means you will be equal to friends, family, animals, humans, everybody. So generally, what people measure equal vision as that, okay, I see my family as souls, as devotees. Well, then what's stopping you from seeing your neighbor? What's stopping you from seeing others also, even materialistic people, as souls? So when you are able to see at the level of soul, then it's not limited to your family soul. When you come to that level of soul, then you will be able to see soul in everybody. This is explained in 5.18 as the Samadarshina verse, that whether you are seeing a human, you will see the Paramatma within. Whether you see a dog, you will see the Paramatma within dog. Whether you see a dog eater, you will still see them as a soul. You will have the Samadarshina. So right now what you are seeing is material contamination that you are seeing. I am seeing envy or I am seeing anarthas. Well, that is material vision. So nothing wrong with seeing. Madhyamadhikari generally is able to see both sides. They just ignore the material and focus more on the spiritual. That's when you come to spiritual vision, and that's what is talked about in mantra number 7 and 6 and 7, that the consciousness and the vision of Mahabhagavat is to see everybody at the level of soul as oneness in quality, not in quantity. Annapurni?
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
So the question Abhishek Prabhu posted in the chat about the step number 2 is that you are seeing the soul. That's your step number 2, that you see the spirit as spirit. Right now, although we may theoretically know, at least I theoretically know that we all are souls, I don't act as souls. No, I see everybody as body. I see myself as my body. I think I am my body, right? Because I am still at material level. I'm not even at first level to see spirit within material. Abhishek Prabhu, does that help you?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank
Lakshmi?
So just following up on that explanation, like when you say that you see everybody, you see the spark of God in everybody, like are we talking about my feelings and thoughts and my vision, or are we talking about how that translates into my actions and words towards them?
Yeah, when you have my, that is at bodily level, right? The equal vision is that everybody is equal. So reciprocation will vary, but everybody is equal. If you read mantra number 7 and the purport, what it explains is This point about ekatvam anupashyata means when he sees everyone as the soul. So if you see a human being, whether he is a relative, friend, or an enemy, you see the soul within everyone. Or if you see a tiger, you will see the soul within a tiger. Now, reciprocation will vary. For your human contact, you can go and embrace your friends and family, even though you may see them as souls. But with the tiger, you cannot go and embrace. Your reciprocation has to be different. So this is what I'm assuming, Lakshmi, you are referring to about your feelings. So I mentioned about reciprocation is different because the tiger does not see you as soul. The tiger is going to devour you. Right? So you see everybody as soul means you see the soul within everyone. That's your step number where you are seeing soul at the level of soul, that everybody is a soul, whether they are in a human body or an animal body. But that does not mean that you will go and embrace a tiger saying, oh, you are also soul. No, that doesn't work. The reciprocation with the tiger will be, let the tiger be in a cage and you can give the tiger a prasad. That's your reciprocation with a tiger. Lakshmi, does that help you?
Sorry, like if we think about, I mean, as an example, if you think about your people you work with or colleagues or whoever, like you are able to recognize or you're able to think theoretically that they all carry the spark of Krishna.
Yeah.
But when reciprocation has to be different with different people, then like how can I show by my actions to these other human beings who are not my family or friends that I see you as Krishna's spark?
Yeah. I will give you a practical example. Very good. So I explained this in the Bhagavad Gita class that during COVID time, I changed departments and I had to work with a new colleague. Now everybody in my office said, oh, this colleague is very nice, very helpful, blah, blah, blah. Everybody said she is very nice. So I took that everybody's comments about her on the face value. I did not believe. I did not go negative. No, I don't believe you. I said, okay, you are saying thank you. But I still saw the actions of this person from scriptural knowledge that this person was actually a backstabber. That I saw that this person fitted completely in Bhagavad Gita chapter 16 demoniac qualities, as well as fitted perfectly in Bhagavad Gita chapter 1 the qualities of Duryodhan. Perfect fit. So all of my rest of the colleagues, they are not spiritual. They saw this person from what external was there. So just as Duryodhan was talking externally, and we have discussed in chapter 1 that speech is not a criteria to determine your elevation. You have to judge their intent. So this person with whom I have to work is very nice talking, but had demoniac intentions, meaning is a backstabber. Now to apply this principle, I did see that, okay, this person is also a soul, although I don't have the ability to see the soul. I recognize, okay, this person is a soul, but this person is also doing something wrong. So I have to stop that person from doing the wrong. I did not hate that person. That person is still sitting beside me as my colleague. But I had to stop this person from doing wrong, that behind the back is going and deliberately creating something wrong that she was not supposed to. So I had to tell my manager that I know everybody thinks this person is very nice, but actually she is doing something that she's not supposed to do. And you need to take corrective action for this. So even though my manager is a feminist and this colleague is also a female, who is a backstabber, my manager still went and told this female colleague of mine that please stop doing what you are doing. Going forward, I still converse with this colleague nicely. I don't have any hate for what she did. Yes, I stopped her because there was a reason to stop her, because on a very massive spreadsheet, which is a password protected spreadsheet, she also knows the password. She has got the password from me. She's going and editing things incorrectly on a password. And I had to tell my manager that this person is the only other person knowing the password. And here she has gone and edited a wrong, and you will not realize that the output will be wrong. Yeah, I noticed on the first or second instance, and I had to stop that. So I did corrective action. So that was the reciprocation, that I had to stop this colleague from doing the wrong things. But then I don't hate that person. I still converse nicely with that person on a day-to-day basis. So that's the level of soul. That's the level of reciprocation, although I'm not at that level. I'm just trying to explain in theory that you see that, okay, I see this is a soul. The soul is doing wrong. Get the soul to stop doing wrong, but you don't hate the soul. Don't hate that person. Lakshmi, everybody, I'm not sure if that helps.
Yeah, it definitely helps. And it is so contradictory to at least what I have been led to believe, that it's hypocritical to behave nicely towards people who are doing wrong things. And it's
So I did
going to
not
take
behave.
time. No, I mean, like, it's going to take time to react in this way, where you can balance doing the right thing, but not feel hate or not feel envy or not feel anger.
Yeah.
I feel it is going to take me
Yeah.
time to balance this.
So nothing wrong with it. Now, so you mentioned about hypocrite. Like, I did not just stay nice, right? One of my option was I could have simply changed the password and not given the password, and then there was no way. But that hate would have continued from her side onto me. That I don't know whether she still hates me or not, because she got this beating from the manager. That I don't know, that I cannot comment upon. But we have to apply the principles for ourselves from our side. We don't have to worry about others. Yes, we do worry, but we have to apply from our side. We have to purify ourselves, not others. Yes, we can purify others if they are willing to hear from us. Otherwise, we focus on ourselves first. Lakshmi?
Yes, thank you. And I'm just thinking of people like Ram and Sita and all those people. Like, when they had this kind of trouble, like, how did they do the right action without getting angry or...
Yeah, Ram and Sita, we cannot comment. They are at Lord Ram is Lord Krishna himself. It's at spiritual level complete. There's no comparison, right? So what they do and how they act is for our learning. That, okay, this is our goal, that we have to come to the level of Lord Ram to be able to be equal to every single one, even when Vaikai, the stepmother, did wrong to him. Lord Ram did not have any envy to her also. So that's our goal, to come to that level.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Annapurni?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Now, if this lady, she keeps on repeating it over and over again, like the Duryodhan nature cannot be changed.
Yeah, then you have to take
what
action.
would your reaction be? Like, sometimes it just
then you have to take action. That this has to be corrected. So this lady in my office, on the first or second instance, I can't remember how many things she changed and how many things I had to fix. Then she stopped doing it. When my manager told this person, then she stopped doing it. At least that's what I think. That she stopped messing up things that she was not supposed to mess up. So if she would have not changed, and if I would have pointed out more things to my manager, then that would be a repeat offense.
Mhm.
Well, then management would take action. Well, why are you doing this repeat offense? We already told you not to do this, right? You are doing something that you're not supposed to do. So that repeat offense would have been negative consequential to that female.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
All right. Mantra number 8. Title is Krishna's qualities are known to Mahabhagavad. So we have to come to Mahabhagavad level, and then we'll be able to see and understand Krishna's quality. So the vision is developed further and directed to the Ishvara helps us understand him. So you understand the whole step-by-step process that I described is how it's progressing. Meghna, you want to read 8 translation?
Yes, Prabhu, I can read now. Hare Krishna. Mantra 8. Such a person must factually know the greatest of all, the personality of Godhead, who is embodied, omniscient, unembodied, who is unembodied, omniscient, beyond reproach, without veins, pure and uncontaminated, the self-sufficient philosopher who has been fulfilling everyone's desire since time immemorial.
So there are many points in this purport. Now, question is, he is without veins. How do you understand this? Meaning, Lord's body is not material. Lord has veins. Those veins are spiritual. And Lord has senses. Lord, those senses are spiritual senses. So this point is explained in Bhagavad Gita 13.15. The verse is Sarvendriya Gunabhasham Sarvendriya Vivarjitam. Prabhupada actually chuckles in the lecture when he recites this verse, Sarvendriya Gunabhasham and Sarvendriya Vivarjitam, that he is owner of the senses, but he does not have senses. Well, how do you understand this? What it's referring to is that Lord does not have material senses. Lord has spiritual veins and spiritual senses. Now, this question about unembodied, what does it mean? So understand that I am a soul, and on top of the soul, I have this covering of my physical body and and subtle body. Means I am embodied with material nature. So with body, mind, veins, and senses. Lord's transcendental form is not embodied, meaning there is no difference between Lord's body and Lord's soul. Everybody understands this unembodied point? All right, I got silence. Okay, thank you. All right, then it talks about omnipotent. So each and every part of Lord's body can do the work of other senses. So just as Lord impregnated material nature by his glands, or when we offer bhoga to Lord eats with his eyes. Lord can walk with his hands. So this is the omnipotent component. And the most important part of mantra number 8 are the 2 qualities of the holy name described. One is Shuddham. Shuddham means antiseptic. That he is antiseptic because even impure things become purified just by touching him. Example is given in the purport that the sunlight, the sun rays, they touch the stool and the stool gets purified. The sun does not get impure. That's how the holy name is. The holy name is Shuddham, antiseptic. The holy name goes on to pure others, but the holy name does not become impure. And the second quality of the holy name is Apapa Vidam, means sin cannot touch him. So example to understand this is that, say when you are washing your hands with a soap, Your soap does not get contaminated by the dirt on your hand. Rather, your hands get cleansed when you are applying soap. Questions, comments, realization, those are the key points from mantra number 8. All right. So, standard spiritual endeavor is that you will read all the mantras and purports of all the points that we have covered, which is up to mantra number 8. For today's class and the next 2 class, I will send you Srila Prabhupada's lecture from Nectar of Devotion. So Annapurni is the only one who has not attended Nectar of Devotion. So those Nectar of Devotion lectures are very heavy lectures. So try your best, whatever you all can do. So I will send Google form where you will populate at least one inquiry, at least one striking point, and some points from Prabhupada lecture. We still have about 5 minutes left. Any questions, comments, realizations?
Yeah. So just thinking that discussion you had on seeing the wrong but not hating them is very, it's important, but at the same time difficult.
Yeah, it's difficult. I'm not saying that it's easy. So understand the difference between forgiveness and trust, right? So we have to develop the quality of forgiveness. So forgiveness is for you to give to others because it is beneficial for you. You have to develop the forgiveness quality. So if you don't forgive, it's like you are holding a burning rock to hurl onto somebody else, not realizing that the burning rock is burning you right now, burning your hand right now. So forgiveness is for you to give, but forgiveness does not mean you start trusting the other person. Trust is for the other person to build. So this colleague of mine lost the trust. So I forgave, and this does not mean that I started trusting this person. So I am still cautious. I am not having any envy per se. But I still don't trust that person because that person has that negative anartha built in, that by default the person is acting in a Duryodhan mentality or acting in a demoniac mentality. But for me to develop the quality of forgiveness, well, I have to develop. Otherwise, what is the difference between me and the other person? If I am studying scriptures, well, then I have to first follow. Therefore, forgiveness was there for me to give. But that does not mean I trust. Even today, I don't trust. Well, that person hasn't done anything wrong ever since. It's been a couple of years now. When I say don't trust means I am cautious that whenever I interact with this colleague, I am cautious, knowing what the default nature was. Does not mean that the person is acting in that nature. No, that person hasn't done anything wrong ever since. At least I'm something that I am not aware of. But still, I am cautious. Okay, I have to be cautious. It's my right. Abhishek Prabhu.
Thank you.
Rest of you, questions, comments, realizations?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I think the concepts are a bit too heavy for me to even ask any questions right now. So maybe after reading the purports, I'll get something.
Yeah, that's okay. I already mentioned at the very start But actually, Sumnima, thank you for listening with rapt attention. Therefore, you are able to recognize that concepts are hard. You are correct. However, I have said from day one that Ishopanishad is very heavy. And if you think it is heavy so far, our next class is the most complex mantras. So we'll cover a lot of mantras at our next class. We'll cover mantra number 9 to 14. These are also real complex mantra and very practical mantra for us. The last class, class number 4, is going to be about 30 minutes class only, which are straightforward. But next class is going to be real heavy class. Sumnima, be prepared. Rest of you be prepared.
Okay, Prabhuji.
But thank you, Sumnima. It's actually very good that you are actually being honest that yes, it is heavy. I'm not saying that why are you not understanding? No, it is heavy. And it is proper that when you have this feeling, means first you are hearing with rapt attention. That's very good. And then you can say, yes, when I will read, I will absorb more. And does not mean that from tomorrow you will start becoming a Mahabhagwat, that from tomorrow you are pure devotee. That's not what this means. If you can become a pure devotee tomorrow, by all means become. But don't beat yourself up saying, well, I'm still not a pure devotee. No, don't worry about it. Just continue and you will get purified little by little. Questions, comments, realizations? Annapurni?
Thank you for telling what mantras you're covering for next time, because given the heavy topics, and you're saying it's going to be even heavier, I think I need to read it once even before attending the class to grasp.
Yeah. The next mantras are not going to help you even if you read by yourself. At our next class, we'll first read the mantra and I'm going to ask you, does this make sense? So, but read. I'm not going to stop you from reading before the class, but I can tell you ahead of time, the next mantras number 9 to 14 are not easy to follow by the simple read. I'm going to ask the same question. The simple read of mantras number 9 to 14, you'll go, huh? What? But read. Annapurni, please read ahead of time. All right, we are at 11:30 a.m. Toronto time. Are we all okay to stop here?
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.